Park Sonu was 28 years old when he died. Not heroically, not beautifully. Just a Friday evening, a crosswalk near Hongdae Metro Station, a girl with a bag snatched by a guy in a hoodie, and Sonu, who was standing nearby and reacted before he had time to think. He grabbed the guy by the arm. The guy turned around. The knife went in under the ribs quickly, almost without a sound. Sonu lowered himself onto the sidewalk. The girl was screaming something, people around. Someone was calling an ambulance. He looked at the sky above Seoul orange from the lights. No stars, familiar. So that's how it is, he thought. So that's how it is. Not painful, strangely. Cold and quiet and the sky above. I didn't even know her name. Darkness. Then a voice. Not from outside. From within, like a system notification on a phone. Recorded, Park Sonu. 28 years old. Death penetrating wound. Cause of death. Protection of another. Compensation protocol activated. Reincarnation type. Inorganic entity. Nearest mineral formation. Form. Silicon crystal. Formation age 3 hours. Golem evolution system. Activated. Welcome to the world of Eldris. Sonu wanted to say something. He was already a stone. The first 6 hours, darkness. Not empty, saturated. Pressure from all sides earth. Something heavy above. No smell. No sound. Only vibration. Everything living and non-living transmitted vibration through the earth and stone. And he heard it as a dull, continuous noise. I am a stone, thought Park Sonu. Small. Underground probably, or in a crevice. He tried to move nothing. The body did not move because the body in the human sense did not exist. There was a form rounded, dense, roughly the size of a fist, with several facets. The system appeared at the 4th hour as if it had been waiting for him to calm down. Carrier. Name not assigned. Form. Silicon crystal. Primordial rank. Entity. Rank. G below classification. Size. 8 centimeters. Weight. 340 grams. Evolution points. 0 of 200 to first evolution. Basic characteristics. Durability high, does not break from ordinary impact. Vibration perception radius 15 meters. Mineral absorption slowly absorbs minerals from contacting rock. Mind full, preserved from previous carrier. EP for destruction of entities. Multiplier depends on power gap. Killing a sentient being multiplier times 5. Magic exists in Eldris. Not available to all, requires a spark, an innate gift. Without a spark, no training will produce magic. Spark carriers, approximately 1 in 500 people. Mages and magic swordsmen elite. Golems, creatures of stone and metal, created by mages. Considered non-sentient tools. A sentient golem without precedent, thought Sonu. Excellent. Rank G, below classification. 200 points to first evolution. I am an 8 centimeter crystal underground and I need to kill something to evolve. How? He thought about this for a long time. First, get out from underground. 7 hours he figured out how to move. The crystal had no muscles, limbs, nothing. But the system said vibration perception and mineral absorption. He tried directing intention, not a thought command, rather intention, desire. Like in a dream, when you want to move your arm and it moves without anatomy. On the 6th hour of attempts, the crystal shifted. Slightly, a millimeter. But it shifted. He felt the rock around him. Not the solid sections, but cracks, voids, layers of different density. He could press on the soft, slip into voids, use vibration to widen the cracks. Slowly vary. He moved toward the surface for several hours. Then light. Sharp, green, alive. He rolled out of a crevice in the rock, fell into the grass, lay there. The sky enormous, with 2 suns of different sizes. Trees not quite like earthly ones, leaves broad with a bluish edge. The first thing he studied was how his perception works. Vibration came from everything. Wind a soft, uniform tremor, grass almost silent. Trees a low humming background. Insects fast, frequent pulses. And creatures each in its own way. Small animals in the grass, fast nervous signals. Something large beyond the trees, slow heavy strikes on the ground. Birds in the canopy barely felt, too light. He lay in the grass and listened to the world through vibration. This is good perception, he assessed. Radius 15 meters. If I learn to read more precisely, I will know what is nearby without sight. Vision was also absent, not in the human sense. He felt light and shadow as a change in surface temperature and difference in air pressure. He did not see a picture, but had a sense of space approximate, insufficient. First evolution, a matter of survival. Need to do it as quickly as possible. On the third day, he found a good vantage point, a rock above a small ravine. Below a large creature, very large by vibration. Slow, heavy, walking along the bottom of the ravine. 3 meters down. The creature large, with spines on its back, with a hard shell. It was slowly chewing something at the wall. Armored broil, the system provided. Rank D lower. EP base 40. Rank D. I am rank G, thought Sonu. The multiplier should be enormous. He shifted slightly at the edge of the rock, studying the position. A little more than necessary. No balance? A crystal has no balance, there is only physics. He fell. 8 centimeters of crystal weighing 340 grams fell 3 meters down. The crystal fell with a sharp edge downward and landed right in the unprotected gap between the armored plates on the nape of the broil. The broil lurched, roared, fell. Silence. System. Destroyed. Armored broil. Rank D lower. EP base 40. Multiplier times 9. Carrier significantly weaker. Critical damage instant strike to vulnerable point. Bonus times 1.5. Total 54 EP. EP total 54 of 200. Park Sonu looked at the sky with 2 suns from the surface of the dead monster. By accident, he said. No sound came out, no vocal apparatus. Just a thought. But it works. Falling from above onto a vulnerable point is a viable tactic. If I find the right points, I have a method. 8 centimeter crystal killer. Excellent. 2 months. He hunted through ambushes, found creatures through vibration, studied their patterns, waited for the moment when they passed under an overhanging rock or the edge of a cliff, and fell. Accuracy grew. He learned to feel anatomy through vibration. Vulnerable points: the neck, base of the skull, eye sockets. At 200 EP, the system offered first evolution options. Path of mineral, size increased 30 centimeters, durability plus 50%, skill, mineral merge and vibration impulse. Path of crystal, size increased 25 centimeters, skills, light refraction and resonance. Path of golem, rudimentary limbs appear, size 40 centimeters, skills stone fist and absorption. Hidden path unlocked due to non-standard carrier. Sentient golem, accelerated transition to sentient form. Size 50 centimeters. Form rough humanoid of crystalline rock. Rudimentary face, eyes as light crystals, mouth as a slit in the rock. Limbs 4. Skills, word of stone and stone mind. This path has not been encountered in the history of the system. Fourth path, he decided, without hesitation. Transformation, 12 hours. He found a deep crevice in the rocks, climbed inside. The process not pain, more like pressure and restructuring. The crystalline structure grew, branched, built new forms. He heard how his body changed through vibration from within, each new element like a note in a strange melody. Dawn he came out of the crevice, stood, on 2 legs. Not human ones, square, of layered stone rock, without knees in the usual sense. But functional. He took a step, then another. I walk. Arms 4 limbs, 2 main and 2 auxiliary thin, with several growths instead of fingers. He found a puddle and looked at his reflection. Rough. Obviously not human. Flat, with 2 bright blue crystals instead of eyes, with a slit of a mouth. No nose. More like a mask of stone than a face. He tried speech, activated word of stone. A, he said. The sound came out low, stony, with a vibration felt in the air. System. First evolution complete. Rank updated E lower. Form. Sentient golem. Primary stage. Humanization index 8%. Note: first sentient golem in the history of the world of Eldris. The system has no precedence for this path. Evolution limit unavailable for analysis. Through vibration perception, he began to hear people a month after the first evolution. A village 2 kilometers away, he found it by the vibration of many bodies. Observed from a distance, not approaching. Listened. Conversations were automatically translated through the system. He recorded everything in Stone Mind. Magic in Eldris works through the spark, an innate gift. Without the spark, it is impossible to use spells. The spark comes in different types: fire, water, earth, air, darkness, light, metal, space. Rare types: space and metal. The rarest, the nameless spark, 1 carrier per several generations. Mages are respected. Magic academies in major cities. Rank system from F to SS. Magic swordsman. A special class, they pour the spark into weapons and the body. Faster than ordinary mages in close combat. Golems, constructs created by mages, controlled through command runes, have no mind. A sentient golem in this world is theoretically impossible. In the 3rd month in Eldris, the first person. Not a village, a solitary traveler. Young, about 16, with a sword too large for his age, and with the bewildered look of a person who is lost. He walked through the forest, stumbling over roots, cursing quietly, looking at a hand-drawn map that was clearly drawn incorrectly. Sonu observed from a distance in mineral merge. He blended with a gray rock by the road. Invisible. Young. Not a threat. Possibly information. He came out. Not instantly, he gave the boy time to notice the rock was moving, gave time to get scared, gave time to understand it was not attacking. The boy saw him and froze. Hand on the hilt of the sword. Sonu stopped 3 meters away, raised 2 arms, a gesture of peaceful intentions. Not an enemy, he said. Word of stone low, vibrating. The boy looked at him. Eyes wide. You, a golem? Yes, said Sonu. You speak. Yes, a golem is not supposed to speak. I am different, said Sonu. The boy looked for a long time. Then the fear began to leave, replaced by curiosity defeating caution. Where are you from? From the rock, said Sonu. Who created you? No one. Pause. I was born. A golem is not born. I am different. The boy looked for another second. Then, with the sigh of a person who decided to stop arguing with reality, my name is Terrace. Stone, said Sonu. He had no name, he had not chosen one yet. Is Stone a name? For now. Are you lost? Asked Sonu. Looking for the village of Cairn. There should be a teacher there. Sonu threw stone. Mind reconstructed the map of the area he had been studying for a month. Cairn is to the northeast. 3 hours if you go straight. You know the area? I live here. Oh, Terrace was looking at him again. Do you want to come with me? Not a bad idea, thought Sonu. Yes, he said, and they walked. A sentient golem 50 centimeters tall and a 16-year-old boy with a large sword down a forest road to the village of Cairn. The village met them at the gates. A guard, an elderly man with a spear, saw Terrace first, then the creature beside him. Hand on the spear. A golem, he said. Not with panic, with professional concern. He is safe, said Terrace. He speaks, helped me with the road. A golem does not speak. This one speaks. The guard looked at Sonu for a long time. Sonu motionless, the blue crystal eyes glowing steadily. I am not an enemy, said Sonu. May I enter? Asked Sonu. Long pause. Yes, said the guard. Carefully. But no sudden movements. The village of Cairn small, about 30 households. But the village stood on a trade route between 2 cities, and half of the residents were adventurers or merchants, a varied crowd accustomed to the strange. That helped. First reaction: surprise and distance. People looked, did not approach. Children several ran after him at a distance of about 5 meters, whispering. Sonu walked beside Terrace slowly, without sudden movements. Stone Mind recorded everything: faces, reactions, layout of houses, conversations. Terrace found his teacher a middle-aged man with a staff, a mage judging by the glow of the spark which Sonu felt as thermal vibration. The teacher came out, saw Sonu and froze, not from fear, from professional amazement. This? He came closer, looked at the crystal eyes, at the stone structure. A sentient golem. You speak? Asked the teacher of Sonu. I speak, said Sonu. I understand. I think. How did you come to exist? I was born, said Sonu. A golem is not born without a creator. I am different. The teacher looked at him for a long time, then slowly smiled. I am Magister Eorn, a mage of earth affinity. Do you want to know more about magic? Yes, answered Sonu. Sonu stayed. Not with the people in the forest nearby, came to the village during the day. The village got used to it within a week. Magister Eorn taught him for 3 months. Not magic knowledge about the world. The history of Eldris, the structure of society, the magic system, geography. Sonu listened and memorized everything with perfect accuracy. Eldris, 3 kingdoms. Reynos the largest, with the Academy of Magic in the capital. Kael'dir, militaristic. Emphasis on magic swordsmen. Tiran neutral, trade and artifactorics. Monsters from E to S. The higher the rank, the more magical. S-rank creatures, history. Encountered once a generation. The Hunters Guild handles contracts on monsters. Hunter ranks F to SS. Notable figures. The King of Reynos, elderly, just. His daughter Princess Aelin, the only heir. Said to be a talented mage warrior, a rare combination. Rumors about her character varied. Some say harsh, some say fanatically devoted to those she considers her own. Interesting, noted Sonu and stored it in memory. Over 3 months he hunted in the forest. The system gave EP he accumulated. Magister Eorn gave him information about the monsters of the region, their vulnerabilities and habits. With information, the hunt became more effective. EP total 1,850 of 2,000 to second evolution. Almost. Terrace, the apprentice of Magister Eorn, got used to Sonu faster than anyone. By the second week, he was already simply walking over and sitting nearby. Did not ask, just was present. Sonu did not object. Why are you here? Asked Terrace one evening by the village wall. Studying, said Sonu. About magic? About the world. And then what? I don't know yet, said Sonu honestly. That's fine, said Terrace. I don't know either. The teacher says my spark is weak, might not get into the academy. Pause. I'll become a hunter, probably. Being a hunter is good, said Sonu. You could also be a hunter, said Terrace. Do you kill monsters? Yes. Why? To grow, said Sonu. Do you miss anything? Asked Terrace. From where are you from? From Seoul. From Korea. From the 2-room apartment with the neighbor's cat that was never there. I miss it, said Sonu. Sometimes. Who? The world. Pause. Not people. Just the world as it was, Terrace thought. I miss my mom, he said simply. She died 2 years ago. That is why I study under Magister Eorn. He was her friend. Missing things is normal. Normal, agreed Sonu. They sat in silence. A good kind of silence, not awkward. Terrace is good, thought Sonu. 16 years old with a heavy sword, without a mother, with a small spark. But not broken, an interesting person. On the night of the 91st day, 2000 EP, second evolution options. Minor golem size, 80 centimeters, skills, stone shield and earth sense. Crystal golem size, 70 centimeters. Skills, light lattice and crystal resonance. Golem human accelerated humanization, size 120 centimeters. Form recognizably humanoid, skills voice and stone blood. Special path. Golem heart, no size increase, significant mind growth, skills stone memory and earth heart. Stone memory. Absorption of memories of creatures through contact. Earth heart. Feeling emotions of creatures through soil vibration, but right now form is more important. Third option, he decided. Transformation 18 hours. He emerged from the crevice at dawn. Stood at a forest stream, looked at his reflection. A boy made of stone. Short, roughly the size of a 10-year-old child. Form human. Head, shoulders, torso, legs, arms. Everything in the right proportions. But the material not flesh. Gray-white stone surface, smooth, without seams. Along the temples and shoulders, thin blue veins. Hair short, of crystalline threads, silver with a bluish sheen. Face, he looked for a long time. Features, human. Nose, mouth, chin. But the skin clearly not skin, and eyes blue, glowing from within. Beautiful, he thought unexpectedly. Then, a strange thought for a creature of stone. He opened his mouth. Voice, he said. Clear. Young, slightly high, corresponding to the size of the body. No vibration, no stone rumble. Just a voice. He laughed briefly, from surprise. Laughter is there too. System. Second evolution complete. Rank, D middle. Humanization index 28%. Carrier name not assigned. A name is needed. Park Sonu died. That name is the past. A new world. A new entity. Golem. Stone. Blue eyes. Cain, he said aloud. Tried the sound. Cain. Good. System. Name recorded, Cain. He came to the village the next morning. Terrace was by the wall practicing sword stances. Saw Cain, stopped. Cain, he said. Uncertainly recognized him by the blue eyes and veins, but the form had changed radically. Yes, said Cain. You grew. Yes. And the voice is different. Evolution. Terrace came over, walked around, studied him. Not fearfully with curiosity that Cain already knew. You now look like a stone boy, said Terrace. In a good way. I know. The face, if not for the skin, I would think he was human. Not yet. I will be. You will be human? Similar, said Cain. Gradually. Is it scary? Asked Terrace. What exactly? Changing like that? You remember what you were like before, when you were a small crystal? I remember, said Cain. And it is not scary that you are different now? Cain thought genuinely. No, he said, because I remember who I was before this world too. Pause. I have changed before. This is just the next step. Before this world, said Terrace. I slipped up, Cain realized. It does not matter, he said. Terrace looked for another second, then nodded. Did not push. Good. Magister Eorn, upon seeing Cain's new form, was silent for a long time. Then said, You evolve on your own, without a creator, without runes, without magical support. Yes, that is impossible. But it is happening. The Magister sat down, looked at Cain with the expression of a mage who had encountered a phenomenon that destroys several axioms at once. I must tell my colleagues. The Academy must know. No, said Cain. Eorn looked at him. Why? Because the Academy will want to study. Studying means taking apart to understand the mechanism. They do not know I am sentient from within, said Cain. They see a golem that moves and speaks. They will think it is a complex mechanism. Pause. I need time to grow stronger, to understand this world, before anyone decides what I am. Eorn looked at him for a long time, then slowly nodded. Agreed, he said. For now, and will want to understand how. Eorn was silent for a long time. You are right, he said at last. Some yes, not all, but some. So it is better not to. Then what do you plan? Asked Eorn. Just live in the forest? For now. Then we will see. Cain, said Eorn seriously. You need to be careful. You are a unique phenomenon. When people encounter a unique phenomenon, they want to control it or destroy it, out of fear or out of greed. I know, said Cain. That is why I am studying. What exactly? Everything, said Cain. Language already. History, yes. Magic. I understand the theory. Pause. Next is practice. I need to learn to look less noticeable. A golem cannot be inconspicuous. A golem, no. But the more I resemble a human, the easier it is. Eorn looked at him. You think several steps ahead. I am a bank employee, said Kane. What? Nothing. A habit of thinking ahead. The next 4 months, hunting, EP, growth. By the third evolution, 6000 EP, he was already different. Third, evolution. Path of the golem human continued. Option: teenager. Golem. Height: 155 centimeters. Form convincingly human at a quick glance. Skin white with very slight stone texture, visible only at touch or in bright light. Hair crystalline threads, silver white. Looks like an unusual hair color. Eyes blue, glow controllable, can be turned off. New skill: stone flesh upon impact. The body surface automatically hardens to the level of stone for 2 seconds. Regeneration from minerals accelerated. New skill: earth sense. Expanded perception through earth and stone. Radius 100 meters. Accuracy high, determines weight, step, magic level. Humanization index after evolution, 55%. 155 centimeters. Looks human at a quick glance. Eyes can be turned off, remove the glow. That is enough. It is time to go out. He went out a week after the evolution, getting used to the new body. Looked at himself by the stream. A tall teenager looking about 15 to 16. Silver white hair. White skin with barely noticeable texture, only cold and slightly rough to the touch. Eyes blue, glow turned off, just an unusual bright color. If you do not touch him, a human. Strange, pale, with white hair but a human. He went to Cairn. Terrace, already 17, grown taller, saw him and stopped. Long silence. Kane, he said. Yes. You... Terrace looked. You look like a human. Almost. Almost is a lot. Pause. I would not recognize you on the street. Good. Terrace approached slowly, without fear, reached out his hand. Touched Kane's shoulder. Felt cold hardness under the shirt. Still stone inside, he said. Always will be, said Kane. Terrace smiled. That is fine, he said. That is fine, Kane repeated inside. Yes, the nearest city, Valdir. 3 days on foot from Cairn. Kane went alone. Terrace wanted to come with him. Kane refused. Not because he did not want company, because the first outing into the big world is better done without witnesses for experiments. Valdir, a small city, with stone walls, a market, several taverns. The Hunters Guild, a 2-story building by the central square. Kane entered. Noise, smell. He had already learned to sense smells through thin pores in the stone skin. Weaker than a human, but enough. Registration desk. Administrator, a young woman. She looked up, saw Kane, looked more carefully. Strange, it read in her gaze. Too white hair. Eyes bright. Not suspicion, just noted it. Registration? She asked. Yes, said Kane. Name. Kane. No surname. Age. Age, he thought. The body looked 15 to 16. 16. Specialization. Hand-to-hand combat. Pause. And work with Earth. Earth spark? No. Natural interaction. The administrator looked at him. Natural interaction with Earth without a spark? Yes. She wrote it down with slight skepticism. Test with the assessor. First door on the left. The assessor, an elderly man with a tired look, led him into the testing room. A standard dummy. Show what you can do, he said. Kane looked at the dummy. Careful. Do not show everything. Beginner level. He struck with his hand. Fast, precise, to the head of the dummy. The dummy took the hit, rolled back. The assessor looked at the indicator. D rank physically, he said. Strength good for the age. Then Earth. Kane touched the floor through the sole. Activated Earth sense vibration went across the floor of the room. Raised a small mound near the dummy. It lost balance. The assessor looked. Without a spark? He repeated. Without a spark. How? I do not know, said Kane. I always could. Technically true. The assessor was silent for a long time. D lower rank. Earth interaction non-standard skill. I will record it as a special ability. Pause. You are the first to show this without a spark. It happens, said Kane. Bronze badge, D lower. A beginning. The first month in Valdir methodically. Kane took contracts for monster clearance. Not the most difficult enough. Worked quietly, returned quickly, submitted results without unnecessary words. The problem appeared in the third week. He was noticed, not because he did something flashy, because a D-lower was closing C-level assignments alone, without mistakes, without traces of struggle. Well, one trace there was. On the bodies of the monsters, dents and fractures inconsistent with human strength. One strike, precise, powerful, as if struck by a piece of rock. The guild assessor called him in. Kane. He placed 3 reports on the table. These are your last contracts. Yes. C-rank monsters. Yes. You are D-lower. Yes. The damage on the bodies is inconsistent with D-rank, said the assessor. I have worked 20 years. Such damage is B-rank minimum. Kane looked at him. Favorable positioning, he said. Kane, the assessor looked directly. I do not punish for concealing real rank. That is common for various reasons. But if you are understating, I must know what you can do, for the safety of the other hunters. The logic is clear. Put C middle, said Kane. The real one. Accurate enough? The assessor looked for a long time, then wrote it down. C middle with a special note. Non-standard combat style. Hand-to-hand specialist. Good. And Kane, said the assessor, a young C rank without a spark with a non-standard earth skill, you will be noticed. Are you ready for that? I will get used to it, said Kane. He met her on a contract. Joined the guild, sometimes sent 2 hunters on difficult assignments. The partner was chosen at random. Lyra, 20 years old, magic swordsman, C rank. Short, with dark auburn hair braided in a battle braid, with 2 short swords on her hips. Spark fiery, a faint glow along the hilts of the swords gave it away even without activation. She looked at Kane at the guild gates appraisingly, professionally. Then, you are my partner for the contract? Yes. How old are you? 16. She looked for another second. C rank at 16 without a spark, she said. I heard about you. A strange type with white hair who hits monsters like a stone wall. An accurate description, said Kane. The corner of her mouth twitched. I am Lyra N. Magic swordsman, fire spark. Pause. The contract is the Zerda Caves, clearing the den of bone wolves. 3 to 4 individuals, C rank. She looked at his hands. No weapon. You are really going without a weapon? Yes. Fine. Then I attack from range. You finish in close combat. No, said Kane. Lyra looked. No? I go first. You are support. You are a 16-year-old unarmed C rank, she corrected herself. And I am an experienced magic swordsman. You are faster with swords than without, said Kane. In a cave, it is narrow. Swords are inconvenient in a narrow space. I am not. Lyra looked at him. Then slowly, with that expression when the argument is logical but acknowledging it is awkward. Fine. But if something goes wrong, I will not wait. No need. They walked in silence to the cave's 2 hours. At the first hour, Lyra broke the silence. Where are you from? From the north, said Kane. A village? A small place? Family? No. Lyra looked straight ahead. Short answers, simple questions. Fine. Pause. Then a hard question. How did you get C rank without a spark at 16? Practice, said Kane. That is not an answer. It is an honest answer. Lyra glanced at him sideways. You are strange. Yes? You admit that? Why deny the obvious? She laughed briefly, unexpectedly for herself. Honest, she said. A rarity. At the entrance to the caves, she stopped, activated the spark. Thin fire threads ran along the swords, giving light. Kane activated Earth Sense vibration, went deep into the cave. 4 creatures. 2 at the first turn motionless, sleeping. 1 at the far wall moving slowly. 1 larger than the rest in a side corridor. 4. 2 are sleeping on the left past the turn. 1 at the far wall is awake. The leader's side corridor on the right, larger. Lyra looked at him. You sensed 4 creatures without going inside? Earth sense. Through the stone? Yes. That is very useful, she said slowly. With that professional respect that appears in people when an unusual skill turns out to be genuinely valuable. I go to the sleeping ones, said Kane. You take the awake one. Then, together to the leader. Agreed. The sleeping ones he took quickly. Bone wolves were covered with hard growths like natural armor, but at the base of the skull a soft joint between the growths. He knew this from the stone memory he had absorbed from a monster of this type a month ago. 2 strikes. 2 wolves. System, EP plus 95. He came back out into the main corridor. Lyra was already finishing with the 3rd. A fire discharge along the blade. The wolf was burning and not moving. The leader, said Kane. Yes. They entered the side corridor together. The leader, twice as large, with denser bone growths. Sat and looked at them, did not attack immediately. Smarter than standard ones. I will distract with fire, said Lyra. You come in from the side. No, said Kane. No again? I attack straight on. You cover if it jumps back toward you. Straight at a C-rank leader without a weapon? Yes. That is... Trust me. Lyra looked at him. Pause 1 second. Fine. Kane stepped forward. The leader growled and leaped. An enormous body, bone protrusions forward. Kane did not dodge, met it. Stone flesh activated automatically upon impact. The bone protrusions struck his torso and stopped, as if they had slammed into a rock. The leader did not expect that. Kane grabbed it by the front paws at the moment of contact and used the momentum of the leap. A jerk. A throw against the wall of the corridor. The stone of the corridor cracked from the impact. The leader collapsed, stunned. Final strike to the vulnerable point. Silence in the cave. Lyra stood and looked at him. At the crack in the wall. At the fallen leader. You took its leap in the chest, she said slowly. Yes. The bone protrusions did not pierce you. No. Why? Tough body, said Kane. Lyra looked at him for a long time with that expression when you know you are not being told the whole truth but do not know what exactly is hidden. Tough body, she repeated. Fine. They collected materials from the wolves' bones and growths were valued by alchemists and came out of the cave. On the way back, Lyra walked a little closer than in the morning. Not much, half a step. She is noticing, thought Kane. They submitted the materials to the guild, received payment. Parted ways, so it seemed. Kane ate dinner in the tavern alone, by the window. Eating the process was not necessary for him. Stone blood gave energy from minerals, but food in the social sense helped him look normal. Lyra appeared 15 minutes later, came to his table. Stood. May I? You may. She sat down. Ordered. Was silent for a moment. Kane, she said. Yes, your skin. Pause. What about it? When the leader struck, I was standing close. I saw. She looked at him. It changed. For a second. Became different. As if stone, said Lyra quietly. For a fraction of a second. Kane looked at her. She saw. Close. In the light of her spark, she saw the stone flesh at the moment of activation. What to do? He thought for a few seconds. 2 options. Deny or trust. She is not the type to report. Aura calm, no aggression, a professional person, and she already saw. Denial now is just a lie she will not accept. You are right, he said. Lyra did not get scared, just looked. You are not human, she said. Not a question, not entirely. What are you? Kane thought. If I tell you, will you report it to the guild? Depends on what you say. I am not a threat to people, said Kane. I have not killed people. I do not plan to. Then probably not, said Lyra. An honest answer. Not a promise, but honesty. A golem, said Kane. Lyra looked. You are saying you are a golem. Sentient, not created by a mage, born on my own. That does not happen. But here I am, said Kane. Lyra looked at him for a long time, studying him. Then slowly raised her hand, touched his hand on the table with the back of her palm. felt the cold, smooth surface under the thin, artificial warmth. Removed her hand. A golem, she repeated. Sentient. Who eats, speaks, takes contracts in the guild? Yes, and no one knows. Magister Eorn. And Terrace. No one else? No. Lyra looked at the table. Thought for a long time. Why did you tell me? She asked at last. Because you already knew, said Cain. Denying it was pointless. And if I had not seen, I would not have told you. Honest, and she felt that. Nodded. Fine, she said. I will not tell. Pause. For now. For now? If you turn out to be a threat, I will tell. Understood. They ate in silence. Then Lyra said, Cain? Yes. Are you lonely? She asked. Living like this. Among people. But not as a human. Am I lonely? Park Sonu lived in Seoul among millions and was lonely. Cain lived alone in the forest and was not. The difference is whether you know who you are. No, he said. Why? Because I know who I am, he said. Loneliness begins when you do not know. Lyra looked at him. Strange philosophy for a golem, she said. I am a strange golem. She laughed already the second time. Cain noticed that the second laugh was freer than the first. She is getting used to it. A week later, an important contract on the board. Missing trade convoy. 12 people. Road Renos Velder. 5 days without news. Last known position near the Grey Hills. Payment. Triple. Assignment rank. C upper with a note Class B danger. Cain read. Earth sense. He knew this area well. The Grey Hills were 20 kilometers away, and a week ago, an unusual vibration had been coming from there. Too rhythmic, as if something was being built. He took the contract. The guild administrator frowned. This is C upper. You are C middle. The difference is small. Rules. Register me as an addition to the main group, said Cain. Then formally the rules are observed. The administrator looked at him. Clever, he said. But technically, yes. The main group is already assembled. They need a fourth. Who is the group? Lyra N. 2 of her acquaintances, Bren and Salis. Lyra again. Coincidence or not, it does not matter. Fine. Bren large, with a 2-handed sword, quiet. B lower rank. Cain saw this through earth sense. Salis a tall woman of about 30, with a bow and a quiver of arrows with magical tips. C upper. They looked at Cain without warmth. Professional assessment of a new group member. White-haired teenager, said Bren. Not offensively, just a description. C middle hand-to-hand fighter, added Salis. Without a weapon, I have heard of you. Only good things, I hope, said Cain. Only strange things, she said. Lyra stood nearby, and Cain noticed she was not surprised by his appearance. She knew I would take this contract, he realized. Why would she want that? They set out in the morning. On the road, Cain kept earth sense at a constant low level. At the 12th kilometer, something changed in the vibration. Not monsters. Something else. Stop, he said. Everyone stopped. Lyra looked at him without skepticism. Already knew his warnings were well-founded. What? Asked Bren. In the ground, the vibration is non-standard. Cain crouched, touched the soil with his palm. Rhythmic. Mechanical. Mechanical? Repeated Salis. As if something is working, constantly, uniformly. Pause. Underground. Underground? Bren frowned. A mine? There is no mine in this area. I know the map, said Lyra. Then what? Asked Salis. Cain listened through his palm for a few more seconds. A magical construct, he said. Large. And people. Several people, motionless. In the same direction. Motionless means dead? Asked Bren. Or bound. Lyra looked at him. Can you determine the direction precisely? Yes. He stood up. 200 meters to the right of the road. In the hollow behind the hill. Behind the hill they saw it. A large circle of stones carefully laid out, with runes carved on each one. In the center, several people, bound, unconscious. Merchants from the convoy, some of them. and above the circle, a golem. Cain stopped. A golem, large about 2.5 meters, of dark stone with red runes burning on its chest, but motionless, standing in the center like a guard. Salis raised her bow. "Wait," said Cain. "Why? It is not attacking, it is standing. A golem in a ritual circle is—" "I know what it is," said Cain. He felt it through earth sense. A guard golem, holding prisoners, attacks if anyone tries to enter the circle. Pause. But there is a controlling mage. The golem receives commands. Where is the mage? Cain closed his eyes, expanded his sense. 100 meters. Further. Found it. 200 meters to the north. One person. Sitting meditating, maintaining the construct. If we remove the mage, will the golem stop? Asked Lyra. Depends on the runes. If the runes give autonomous mode, no. Pause. I need to look closer. You want to approach a ritual golem, said Salis. Yes. That is foolish. I am a golem, said Cain quietly. Only Lyra heard. Lyra's expression shifted slightly. Then she nodded. Go, she said aloud. We cover. Bren and Salis to the north. Find the mage. I hold here. Bren looked at her. You are seriously sending a teenager to a B-rank magical golem? Seriously, said Lyra. Because? Because I know what I am doing. Bren shrugged. Not his first year in adventuring. Not his first strange partner. Cain approached the edge of the ritual circle. The golem reacted. Red runes brighter. The head turned in his direction. Cain stopped at the boundary of the circle. The golem looked at him. Cain looked at the golem. Non-sentient. Just a construct. Sees a threat at the boundary, assessing. Command. Attack those who cross. I have not crossed yet. He activated Earth Sense directionally, not outward. Deep. Into the structure of the stone beneath the golem's feet, through the earth under the ritual circle, into the runes at the base. Ritual anchor, he saw through vibration. The runes hold activation through a mage point at the northern stone. If the mage point is destroyed, the construct falls apart regardless of the mage. I can do this through the earth, without crossing the boundary. He touched the ground at the boundary of the circle with both palms. Vibration impulse, concentrated, directed. Not outward, downward, and sideways. Through the roots of the earth, through the stone, precisely into the mage point at the northern stone from within. The runes on the northern stone flickered, the golem lurched. The red light became uneven. Again, second impulse, third. The northern stone cracked from within. Mage point destroyed. The golem stopped. The red runes went out one by one. The large body began to settle slowly, heavily, without a single sound. Stone on stone. It collapsed. The ritual circle lost its power. The stones just stones now, without glow. Lyra stood behind him. You destroyed the construct through the earth, she said, without entering the circle. Yes, without a weapon, without magic. Earth sense is not magic technically. Technically, she agreed, from behind noise. Bren returned with the mage. The mage, about 40 with runic gloves, looked confused. The construct had collapsed without visible reason while he was holding his concentration. The construct was destroyed from within, he was saying in surprise. But no one entered. Who? Bren held him by the collar. This quiet one, Bren nodded at Cain. The mage looked at Cain. How? It does not matter, said Cain. They freed the prisoners, 8 alive. 4 had not survived the ritual. The mage was handed over to the city guard. They made camp for the night. The prisoners could not walk right away. They needed rest. At night, when Bren and Salis were sleeping and the prisoners were dozing by the fire, Lyra sat down next to Cain. He was sitting at the edge of the camp looking into the darkness. Cain, she said quietly. Yes. You knew the ritual golem would not attack you if you did not cross the boundary. Yes. How? A golem follows commands precisely. Command. Attack those who cross. As long as I had not crossed, I was not a threat. But that means you understand the logic of a golem from within. Yes. Lyra looked at him. Because you yourself are a golem. Yes. And you felt the structure of that construct. through the earth. Found the weak point. Yes. Silence. Cain, she said, why did you take this contract? Because I saw unusual vibration a week ago. Knew something was wrong there. You could have ignored it. I could, he agreed, but you did not. No. Why? Cain thought. Why? Because 8 people are alive because of it. Because I died protecting a stranger and spent most of my past life staring at the wall and ignoring everything around me. Habit, he said. Helping? Not walking past. Lyra looked at him for a long time in the light of the campfire. Her eyes were warm, amber, different from during the day. Strange habit for a golem, she said. I am a different golem. You say that often. Because it is true. She smiled slightly. Cain, will you take more contracts in Veldir? Yes. Then she looked at the fire. I would like to take them together. Sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. Why? He wanted to ask. Then he remembered Lyra from the previous evening in the tavern. Are you lonely? She is lonely too, he realized. Just in a different way. Fine, said Cain. Lyra nodded, stood up, walked toward the fire, and turned halfway. Cain. Yes? When you finish evolving, will you look fully human? Probably. Then tell me when it happens, she said. I want to see. She went to the fire. Cain looked into the darkness. She wants to see. Is not afraid of what she will see, she wants to. Strange people. Good strange. 2 weeks after returning from the Grey Hills, a rumor spread through Veldir like a wave. Princess Aelin was arriving in the city. Not on an official visit incognito, officially. That meant a small escort, no flags, but everyone in the city knew. The princess traveled incognito once a year, inspecting border cities herself, without reports through officials. They say she is strict, Lyra was saying one evening in the tavern. I heard from hunters who saw her in Dane, she disbanded the entire city council there for bribery. Personally. Is she young? Asked Cain. 20, the only heir. A magic swordsman, they say, one of the best in the kingdom for her age. Lyra twirled her cup. And they say very attached to those she considers her own. What does attached mean? It means if you are in her inner circle, you are in her inner circle forever. Pause. And God forbid anyone tries to touch those in that circle. She protects her own, said Cain, to the point of fanaticism by the rumors. Interesting, Cain noted in stone memory and stored it away. Most likely their paths would not cross. The princess incognito quietly, briefly. He was wrong. The next day morning, the market. Cain was going for food not for himself, for appearances. He bought food and left it by the tavern for the poor of the quarter. This had become a habit. The market was ordinary, noisy, crowded. Cain walked through the crowd noticing people through earth sense faster than he saw them, and sensed something unusual. One aura in the crowd was different. Not weak and not standard dense, structured, with a double layer. A rare combination. Magical aura plus the combat aura of a swordsman, layered one on top of the other. A mage warrior. A rarity. He looked. A girl in plain clothes, without insignia. Dark chestnut hair put up simply, without ornaments. Average height, slender, with that movement which reveals long combat training every step measured. Beside her, 2 in civilian clothes. Bodyguards trying to look like ordinary passers-by, both with hands constantly near hidden weapons under their cloaks. The princess, incognito. Cain looked away, continued walking. Not his business. Then, vibration. 3 people. Fast, with the characteristic rhythm of people moving with intent. They were walking a parallel course toward the princess, cutting the corner. Cain stopped. Pickpockets. Or worse. 3 experienced ones against a girl in a crowd. Even if she is a mage warrior, surprise compensates. Not my business. He stood there. Not my business. The 3 sped up. I died once by not walking past, thought Park Sonu in the body of Cain. And did I regret it? No. He moved. Vibration. Impulse directed, under the feet of the first of the 3. Light. Unnoticeable. Just a small shift of soil under the sole. The man stumbled as if from a random stone, the second one too. The third turned and saw Kane. Kane looked at him neutrally. The three exchanged glances. Decided not to risk it. A potential witness and a hunter by the C-rank badge visible on his belt. Disappeared into the crowd. Kane continued toward the stall. Wait. A voice. Quiet, clear, with the habit of being listened to. He turned. The princess stood 2 meters away, looking at him with that direct gaze that does not look away first. You saw them, she said. Not a question. Yes. And removed them through something with the earth. Just random stones. No, she said. I am a combat mage. I see the difference between a random stone and a directed influence. The bodyguards behind her closed in, hands closer to weapons. Kane looked at the princess. Smart and honest. She says what she saw, does not pretend. Earth interaction, he said. Without a spark. Without a spark? Yes. She looked at him with growing interest, which he was already beginning to recognize. Like Lyra, like Terrace, like Magister Eorn. A non-standard phenomenon generates non-standard interest. Name, she said. Kane. A hunter? C-rank. 16 years old? Yes. Without a spark, C-rank, Earth interaction. She listed calmly, as if recording. The Academy does not know about you? No. Why? Because I do not go to the Academy. Why? Because I am a golem and they will take me apart there out of academic interest. Not interesting, said Kane. She looked at him for a long time. Kane. She took a step closer. Not aggressively, appraisingly. You just quietly protected a person you do not know. At the market, in the crowd. So that no one would notice. I was just walking by. No, she shook her head. You changed your route. I saw. She is very observant. Fine, said Kane. Yes, I changed it. Why? Habit. Not walking past? Lyra already said that to me. Yes. The princess looked at him and something in her gaze changed. Did not soften, rather fixed itself. Like a person who has encountered something that matches their internal standard and remembered it. I will remember you, Kane, she said. C-rank, white hair, without a spark. Fine. That is not a threat, she added. I will simply remember. She disappeared into the crowd, bodyguards behind her. As she had appeared, Kane stood with a bag of food. Princess Aelin remembered me. Whether that is good or bad is unclear for now. But the feeling says their paths will cross again. A feeling or earth sense. More likely the second, he told Lyra over dinner. Not everything, just the fact of the meeting. Lyra listened and her expression changed as he spoke. You met Princess Aelin, she said. Yes, at the market. Yes. And she said she would remember you. Yes, Lyra looked at him. Kane, she said slowly. That is not a small thing. I understand, she will come again, or send for you. Perhaps, you are not worried? Nothing to worry about yet. Lyra looked at him with that expression when you want to explain something obvious to a person who does not understand the obvious. Kane, the princess of the kingdom, remembered you. Personally, that is enormous. I understand the scale. Then why are you so calm? Because worry will not change the situation, said Kane. Lyra looked for a long time, then exhaled. You are sometimes very impossible, she said. Golem, he reminded her. That is not an explanation. It is an explanation for everything. She laughed, already the third time. Kane noticed each time a little freer. Good, he thought. Laughter is a good sound. 3 months later, 12,000 EP. Fourth evolution. Golem youth. Height 170 centimeters. Appearance convincingly human. Skin white, without visible stone texture in ordinary light. Veins disappear. Hair crystalline, silver white, soft to the touch. Eyes blue, no glow by default. Controllable. Body warmth is imitated, warm to the touch. New skill, aura masking. Dark threads masked as ordinary mineral background. Mages do not identify as a construct. New skill. Stone armor. Full activation, body becomes like monolithic stone for 30 seconds. Humanization index, 78%. Transformation, 22 hours. The longest one. When he came out, the puddle by the stream again like a mirror. A young man of about 17 to 18. Tall, 170 centimeters. Slender with regular facial features. Skin white, perfectly smooth, without pores. Hair silver white, soft, falling on his forehead. Eyes blue, without glow. A human. Anyone who saw him from a distance would say. He reached his hand toward the water surface, touched the reflection. Park Sonu, 28 years old, died in an alley by the metro. Kane, 1 year and 8 months, alive. This is me, he said to his reflection. Voice clear, young, calm. No stone vibration. Yes, this is me. He came to Lyra. She opened the door of the room at the inn and froze. Looked. Kane, she said uncertainly. Yes. You. Fourth evolution. She looked for a long time, studying him, then slowly raised her hand, like that time in the tavern, after the caves. Touched his cheek with the back of her palm. A warm surface. Warm, she said quietly. You are warm. Masking, said Kane. Imitation of body temperature, but to the touch. Yes. Almost like a human. Lyra lowered her hand. Looked at him with an expression Kane could not classify. Complex. Several layers. You said you wanted to see, he reminded her. I said that, she agreed. Thought I would be ready. Pause. I was not ready. Why? She was silent for a second. Because now you look like an ordinary person. A beautiful, strange young man with white hair. Pause. And if I met you on the street and did not know, I would not tell the difference. That is good for me. I know, she said. It is just... She did not finish. It is just that something changed, Kane understood, in her perception of me. There was a strange creature in human form. Now there is a human. Almost. Lyra, he said. Yes? I am still a golem inside. I know, she said. Looked at him. That is exactly why I will remember this moment. Pause. Because you showed me. Showed you, he repeated, inside. Yes. First. That means something. I do not yet know what. But something. At night above Veldir, the sky was clear. Kane was sitting on the roof of the inn, a favorite spot, and looking at the stars. In Eldris, they were different. Larger, brighter, with a slight color shimmer at the horizon. The system quietly, EP total, 12,800. To 5th evolution, 25,000. Next form, Golem Human, final stage. Humanization index 95%. Form, indistinguishable from human without specialized magical analysis. Still far, he thought. But moving. Somewhere in the city, Lyra in her room was thinking about something. Kane did not know what. Princess Aelin had left Veldir 3 days ago. But Kane was certain. Not for long. Terrace was studying with Magister Eorn and was supposed to arrive in Veldir soon. Many people, thought Park Sonu, in the body of a golem on a roof in a foreign world. More than in the entire previous life. Strange that this is good. He looked at his hands, white, smooth, warm on the surface. Clenched into a fist, unclenched. Stone inside, human outside. Something third in between. Kane. Enough. Terrace arrived at dawn with a travel bag, with a sword that had become a little smaller relative to his grown body, and with the same direct gaze Kane had remembered. 17 years old now. Had grown almost as tall as Kane. The face had become more mature, but the eyes, the same. He saw Kane at the gates, stopped. Long silence. Kane, he said at last. Yes? You. 4th evolution, said Kane. Terrace approached slowly, walked around him as last time, stopped in front. You look like a human, he said. Almost. No, Terrace shook his head. Not almost, completely. Pause. If I did not know, I would not have guessed. That is the goal. Terrace looked at him for another second, then reached out his hand. Not to touch, as a greeting, as an equal to an equal. Cain shook his hand. Glad to see you, said Terrace simply. Me too, he said. Terrace had come with the goal of joining the guild. Magister Eorn had given him a recommendation and basic training. His spark was weak, F lower level, not enough for the academy. But in the guild an F spark works too if there is skill with a sword. Cain helped with registration, walked him through the city, showed him what was where. Terrace looked at everything with wide open eyes, not with fear, with interest. Large, he said about the city. You will get used to it in a week. Did you get used to it? Yes. Do people not notice? Asked Terrace quietly. That you are not human? Not yet. Aura masking holds. And if someone strong checks? Then a problem, Cain admitted. That is why I try not to attract high-level mages. But the princess noticed you. Yes. Terrace walked in silence for several steps. Cain. Have you thought about what will happen when you fully evolve? To a human? I have thought about it. And? Then comes the next question, said Cain. What it means to be human if you are not one, Terrace thought. A philosophical question, a practical one. Why practical? Because people treat me differently than a stone, said Cain. The more I resemble a human, the more complex the relationships. Pause. A stone is simple. A human is complex. Terrace looked at him. Would you prefer to remain a stone? No, said Cain immediately. I just noticed the difference. Good that you would not, said Terrace. Because as a stone you were smaller than my palm and I would have accidentally stepped on you. Cain looked at him. Terrace looked serious for a second, then could not hold it, laughed. Cain too. Not loudly, but a genuine laugh. The first in a long time from a joke. Good, he thought. That is good too. She came back a month later. Not incognito, officially. A small escort with a royal family flag. Stayed at the city hall. And on the second day of her stay sent a messenger to the guild. Cain read the note. Hunter Cain, C rank. I request an audience, not an order. A request. City hall, 3rd floor, after midday. Aelin. Lyra was reading over his shoulder. I told you, she said. You told me. What will you do? I will go. Cain, Lyra turned to him. Be careful. She is smart. And if she wants to learn more about you, the methods available to a princess are different from those of an ordinary person. I know. And Cain, Lyra paused. Do not give her too much. Right away. You mean information? She stopped. Yes. Information. Pause. Go. 3rd floor of the city hall. A small office. The princess sat at the table without excess ceremony. One bodyguard at the door, no one else. Upon seeing Cain, an attentive gaze, studying. She sees a different person than a month ago, he realized. Then I looked 15, now 17 to 18. 4th evolution. Cain, she said. Your Highness. Sit down. A gesture at the chair across. No formalities. I requested the audience, not the other way around. He sat. She looked at him for a long time, directly. He did not look away. You have changed, she said at last. A month has passed. No, not like that. She tilted her head. When I saw you at the market, you looked different. Younger. I grew. By several years in a month? Fast growth. She looked at him with that expression when you know you are not being told the truth, but you do not push. You wait. Smart, he repeated his assessment. Fine, she said. I will not ask about the growth. Pause. I want to ask about something else. I am listening. Earth interaction without a spark. She placed her hands on the table calmly, without threat. At the academy, they say it is impossible, I asked. Then I am an exception. Exceptions come in 2 kinds, said Aelin. Natural, a rare ability from birth, and created, the result of a ritual, an artifact, intervention. Natural, said Kane. Prove it. How? Show me in person. Kane looked at her, then touched his palm to the wooden floor. Earth sense. Through the stone at the base of the building, through the soil beneath it, a light vibration. At the wall of the office, a small pot with soil and a dried plant. The soil in the pot shifted slightly, rose into a mound, settled. The princess looked. Without a spell, she said. Yes. Without activating a spark? Yes. You feel the earth as… What? As an extension, said Kane. Vibration through everything that is solid. Stone, earth, walls. You hear the building? Yes. Pause. Right now there are 32 people in the building, 7 on this floor. 1 bodyguard behind the door in the corridor. Not the one at the door inside, a second one. Aylin's expression shifted slightly, glanced at the door, then back. You are right, she said quietly. Merrick is standing in the corridor. Caution is good, said Kane. An extra bodyguard is sensible. Yes, she looked at him. Kane, I have a proposal for you. I am listening. I am returning to the capital in 3 days. She spoke evenly, without pressure. I want you to come to Renos, officially, as a hunter invited for consultation on non-standard skills. Unofficially, I am interested in you yourself. Why? Because she looked directly. In 20 years of life, I have met many people who say one thing and think another. You are not like that. How do you know? Because you do not try to make an impression. Pause. Everyone who comes to an audience with the princess tries. You do not. Because I do not need your approval, thought Kane. He did not say it aloud. I consider this risky for myself, he said honestly. Why? The capital, the academy. High-level mages. Pause. My ability will attract attention. I guarantee that no one will study you without your consent. A princess's guarantee carries weight, agreed Kane, but is not absolute. Aylin looked at him, then slowly smiled. The first time during the meeting, not a polite smile, a real one. You are telling the princess that her guarantees are not absolute, she said. That is the truth. Yes, she agreed. The truth. Pause. What if I give a written guarantee with the crown seal? That is weightier. Then yes, Kane thought. The capital, a risk, but also an opportunity. Information about the world, high-rank contracts, faster evolution, and a princess who speaks directly and does not push. An interesting person. 3 days, he said. I need to settle things here. Fine, he stood. Kane, she said. Yes, thank you for coming. Pause. Many would not have come, would have considered the princess's invitation an order and would have arrived frightened, or would have used it as a stepping stone. She looked at him. You came simply as a person to a meeting. You wrote that it was a request, said Kane. I took it literally. Exactly, said Aylin. That is exactly why, he told Lyra. She listened, did not interrupt. When he finished, was silent for a long time. The capital, she said at last. Yes. You accepted. Said I would think about it. But most likely yes. Lyra looked at the table. I understand why, she said. It is logical. The capital is a lot of things. Pause. Terrace just arrived. I talked with him. He will stay here for now. Take contracts. We'll grow stronger. And I? Asked Lyra. Kane looked at her. A direct question. Rare for her. You can come, he said. If you want. Do you want me to come? Yes, he realized inside. Was surprised by that realization. Yes, he said. Lyra looked at him for a second, then looked away. The tips of her ears turned slightly red. He noticed this through earth sense as a thermal change. Small. Fine, she said. Then I will come. Silence. Lyra, said Kane. Yes? Why are you blushing? I am not blushing, she said immediately. Your skin temperature on your face rose by 2 degrees. Cain, she said evenly. Sometimes your sense is too much. Sorry, do not apologize. Pause. Go to sleep. A golem does not sleep. Go pretend to sleep. He stood up, walked to the door, stopped at the door. Lyra. What else? I am glad you are coming. She did not answer. But when he closed the door, through the wall, through earth sense, he heard her heart beating a little faster than usual. Interesting, he thought, walking down the corridor. The heart? Faster. Need to study why. 3 days of travel. The princess's escort. Small? Fast? Cain and Lyra rode separately from the main group on horses provided by the guild. Cain did not like horses. More precisely, horses did not like him. Earth sense gave him a smell and vibration which animals read as non-human. The horse was nervous. It does not obey you? Asked Lyra in the first hour. It is nervous. Why? Senses something is off. Lyra looked at the horse, then at Cain. Do you talk to it? I tried. It does not help. Lyra sighed, rode closer, stroked the neck of Cain's horse. Several slow, confident movements. Horses respond to confidence, she said. You hold the reins like you are analyzing a task. How else? As if you already know where you are going and the earth itself holds you. She showed how to hold the reins. Like this. The horse calmed down a little. Thank you, said Cain. A golem on a horse, Lyra muttered. The world is full of surprises. On the second day they rode side by side in silence. A good silence. Then Lyra said, Cain, tell me about yourself, the real thing. I am a golem, you know that. Not about that. She looked ahead. About who you were before the golem. So, why do you think there was a before? Because a golem is born empty, she said. Without a past? Without habits? Pause. You have habits. And philosophy, and… She stumbled slightly. You speak like a person who has lived. Not like a creature that is a year old. Smart, thought Cain. There was a before, he said. Another world? Yes. Do you remember it? Completely. Lyra was silent. The horses walked. The road went into the hills. Were you happy there? She asked. Cain thought. Park Sonu, a small apartment, the bank, colleagues with gift certificates. Lonely. No, he said honestly. Not very. Is it better here? A golem in a foreign world. Without family. Without a past except memory. A hunter who is not quite human. But Terrace. Magister Eorn. Lyra beside him. Here, said Cain. It is better. Lyra looked at him briefly from the side. Good, she said quietly. And they rode on in silence, but a different, warmer one. The capital was a different scale. Where Veldir was a city, Rhinos was a world. White walls with blue stone inserts, high, 3 people tall. The towers of the Academy of Magic visible from everywhere. 7 towers of different heights, each with the aura of its own spark. Through earth sense, thousands of vibrations. Cain narrowed his perception, otherwise overload. Large, he said. You have not been before? Asked Lyra. No, I was once, 4 years ago. She looked at the towers. The Academy refused me then. Because of spark strength? Because of character, she said dryly. They said I was too independent for training. Interesting phrasing. Their loss, said Cain. Lyra looked at him, then smiled slightly. Do you think that? Or are you saying it because it is the right thing to say? I think it. How do you know it is their loss if you have not seen how I study? Because independence in battle is more valuable than obedience, said Cain. In a real situation, a mage who waits for a command loses to a mage who makes decisions on their own. Lyra looked at him. That is the smartest thing you have said to me, she said. I often say smart things. You do. But usually they are about earth and vibration. Cain almost smiled. Almost. The facial muscles of crystalline flesh worked differently. The expressions were there, but slightly slower than human. Need to practice. On the second day in Renos, the princess arranged a small meeting. Not official. Tea in her personal chambers. Several people, her personal advisor, one of the guard commanders, and, Cain did not expect this, a mage from the academy. An elderly woman in blue, aura powerful, B rank, most likely. Eyes attentive, with that characteristic sharpness that comes from long study of the world through magical perception. Magister Alara, the princess introduced her. Dean of the Department of Non-Standard Phenomena. Non-standard phenomena, noted Cain. The princess invited a specialist in non-standard phenomena to a meeting with me. Transparent. Cain, he said. Sat down, hands relaxed. Alara looked at him with professional interest, without hostility. Earth interaction without a spark, she said. Aelin described it briefly. Yes. May I see? Yes. He touched the floor. Light vibration through the stone. A small rise of soil at the wall in the pot with a plant. Again. Alara watched with a tool in her hand. A small crystal on a chain. A spark analyzer. The crystal did not glow. Not a spark, said Alara. No. Not magic in the classical definition. No. Then what? Cain thought for a second. A natural connection with inorganic matter, he said. I do not know the precise explanation. I simply always could. Where are you from? From the north. A small place. Family? No. Alara looked at him with the look of a person who has not accepted the answer but is not pushing directly. Cain, she said. The analyzer did not determine the type of ability. This is the first time in my practice. Pause. Do you understand what that means? That my ability is outside classification, that I want to study you in more detail. That? No, said Cain. Alara looked. No? Princess, he addressed Aelin. The written guarantee. Aelin looked at him for a second, then slowly nodded. Magister Alara, she said evenly. Cain is my guest. Study without consent is not permitted. Alara did not take offense. Rather accepted it respectfully. Understood. She looked at Cain. Then, on a voluntary basis. I will not push, but if you ever want to understand the nature of your ability, my doors are open. I will remember that, said Cain. After the meeting, the princess kept him back. Lyra and the others left. Cain and Aelin remained by the window with a view of the night Renos. You were not afraid of Alara, said Aelin. No. She is a B-rank mage, Dean of the Academy. I have no reason to fear her title. Many people are afraid. Many people assess threat by status. That is a mistake. Aelin looked at him. Cain, may I ask a personal question? Depends on the question. Do you need anything? She asked. From me, from the capital, from this trip. Something that you want. What do I need? Time, said Cain. Time? To grow. To evolve. Pause. To learn about the world. To evolve, she repeated slowly. A strange word in this context, and she felt it. What do you mean? Too much. To develop, he corrected himself. As a hunter, Aelin looked at him. You sometimes say things that seem larger than they appear, she said. Is that bad? No. She looked out the window at the city. Cain, I want to tell you something. I am listening. I am a princess. The only heir. She spoke evenly, without pomposity. That means there are always people with agendas around me. Advisors, allies, hunters, mages. Pause. Everyone has agendas. That is normal. I understand and accept that. But it is tiring, she said. Quietly. Looking through people at their agendas. Pause. You are the first in a long time who came to an audience and told me directly that my guarantees are not absolute. She smiled faintly. That sounds like a strange reason to trust a person. But that is exactly it. I understand, said Cain. You do not say that you feel the same, she noted. Because I do not know exactly what I feel. Pause. I am a direct person. I will not say what I do not know. Aylin looked at him for a long time. Fine, she said at last. That is also honest. Pause. Cain, will you stay in Renos? For a while. How long? I do not know. Fine. She turned to the window. Then while you are here, I would like to talk sometimes. Like this. Without escort and protocol. I know how to talk, said Cain. I am sure. He stood to say goodbye. At the door, Aylin. She turned without the protocol of waiting for a formal address. Simply turned. Your guarantees carry weight, he said. Just not absolute in a world where much is unforeseen. I know, she said. I said that not to undermine. I said it because it is important to understand the difference. I know, she repeated. And now the smile was different. Not polite, not a princess's smile, simply alive. Cain left. An interesting person, he thought down the corridor. A princess who is lonely among people. A hunter made of stone who is lonely among people. Perhaps that is why it is easy to talk. A week later in Renos. An announcement. The Royal Hunter Tournament. Once every 3 years. Prizes. A title. Contracts from the crown. Free access to the academy libraries. Participants C rank and above. Cain read the announcement on the city board. Are you entering? Asked Lyra beside him. I am thinking. A risk, she said. The tournament is public. Mages from the academy will see you. Or a masking holds. In combat with high-level mages, not certain. Then we will find out. Lyra looked at him. You sometimes risk more than necessary. The risk is manageable, said Cain. The tournament gives EP for victories, access to the academy libraries, and visibility in the capital. All useful. EP, repeated Lyra. What is that? I slipped. Experience. That is what I call the experience that combat gives, he said. A strange term. Habit. Lyra looked for another second, then sighed. Then I am entering too. C rank is permitted. Why? To keep an eye on you, she said. You will say it is not necessary. It is not necessary. That is exactly why it is necessary. Cain looked at her. Ironclad logic. Fine, he said. The arena in Renos held several thousand spectators. 42 participants. Cain looked at the list of opponents through Earth Sense studying auras. Most C rank, several B lower. 1 B middle, strong, with a dense combat aura. That one will be last if it comes to him. First opponent, C lower, a swordsman, young, confident. They came out onto the arena. The audience watched. Cain felt thousands of vibrations from the stands. The swordsman attacked immediately without scouting aggressively. Fast strikes, good technique. Cain dodged. Did not counterattack for the first 10 seconds. Studied. Rhythm, speed, patterns. Strikes harder with the right. Guards the left side less. Step wide, center of gravity shifts forward on a strong strike. On the 11th second, he moved in. Not a dodge, a step forward into the strike. Stone flesh took the blow. Grip on the sword arm. One precise strike with the free hand to the left side. Not strong, sufficient. The swordsman bent over. Cain lowered him gently. Did not slam him to the ground, simply set him down. Control. Judge flag. 17 seconds. Silence in the audience, then noise. Surprised. A white-haired youth without a weapon. 17 seconds. They noticed. Second fight. C middle mage. Air spark. Fast wind strikes. Here Cain used earth sense differently. Felt the direction of air currents through pressure difference. The mage created eddies. Cain read them a fraction of a second ahead. Dodges precise. Counterattacks in the gaps. Fight. 30 seconds. After that, in the audience, people were already talking. Cain heard fragments through the vibration of the stands. The white-haired one, without a spark. Where is he from? Lyra won her first fight too. Confidently. Beautifully. Fire threads along the swords, fast strikes. The spectators applauded. They met during the break. You are too fast, said Lyra. People are noticing. Good that they are noticing. Cain. Concealment on the arena does not work. I am here, so I am visible. What matters more is controlling what exactly they see. What should they see? A good fighter without a spark. Nothing more, Lyra thought. Fine. But the C middle mage yielded quickly. If you meet a B rank one, do not show everything. I will not. Third fight. The bracket gave him an unexpected opponent. Not the B rank swordsman he had been tracking. Another one, young, about 20, in academy uniform. A mage. B lower rank, and Cain felt his aura through earth sense. Earth spark. Strong. An earth mage against a golem. Interesting. They came out onto the arena. The mage, tall, with reddish hair and that characteristic arrogance of academy students. You are the unarmed one? He said. Yes, I heard about you. He looked without respect. Earth interaction without a spark, a smirk. Let us see how your raw talent compares to real Earth. Cain did not answer. Judge signal. The mage activated the spark powerfully without conservation. The arena ground rose. Stone spikes, waves of soil, a wall of layered rock. Beautiful. Technically complex. Cain stood and felt. He controls Earth through the spark. The spark is an external tool for him. He commands the Earth. I am different. I am part of the Earth. I do not command, I hear. The difference is fundamental. Stone spikes flew toward him. Cain read them through vibration a second before. Dodged precisely, economically, without unnecessary movements. The mage frowned. Intensified. A wide wave of soil. Impossible to go around. Cain did not go around. He dropped to one knee, touched the arena with his palm. And vibration impulse, directed straight into the wave of soil, against the vibration from the mage's spark. The wave fell apart. In the middle, the audience fell quiet. The mage looked at him, for the first time without arrogance, with bewilderment. What did you do? He said. Earth hears differently, said Cain. The mage attacked again, quickly, angrily. A stone wall straight ahead. Cain walked through it. Did not destroy it. Walked through. Activated stone armor for 3 seconds. Body like a monolith. The wall struck him and crumbled. He came out the other side without a scratch. The silence in the arena was absolute. The mage stood several meters away. Without range, an earth mage in close combat without distance. Cain took 3 steps. A grip on the wrist, soft, but dead. The earth mage could not create a construct through a wrist held by someone else. The vibration interfered. Stop, said Cain. The mage tried nothing. His spark worked, but the earth did not respond. Something at the point of contact suppressed the connection. Yes, Cain understood. I am closer to the earth than his spark. In direct contact, I am stronger. Stop, he repeated. The mage looked at him with that expression when you encounter something you do not understand. And that is more frightening than a comprehensible threat. Stop means you have lost, said Cain quietly. Judge? Judge? Long pause. Then flag. On the stands. Noise. Loud. Cain walked off the arena and felt through vibration how several auras in the boxes looked at him with sharp, focused attention. Not the applause of the audience. Mages. Academic ones. They noticed, he thought. A B-rank Earth Mage could not create a construct on contact. That is an anomaly. They will analyze. More careful in the next fight. Lyra was waiting for him behind the arena. You walked through a stone wall, she said. Yes. Bare hands. Through stone. Stone armor, I explained. You explained that the body hardens. Not that you become a stone projectile. It is the same thing. Cain? She took him by the sleeve. Up there in the stands, several mages from the academy were watching you with analyzers. I know. I felt it. And? Aura masking held. They see a non-standard ability, not a golem. Lyra looked at him for a long time. Are you sure? No, he said honestly. But there is no choice for now. Either I compete or I do not. And if it turns out that you are, then I will deal with it then, said Cain. Not before. Lyra exhaled. You are impossible, she repeated. The second time that word. That is already a habit, he noted. What? Telling me I am impossible? She looked at him. then blushed slightly again. He kept quiet this time about the skin temperature. Learning. Semi-final. Kane and Lyra both advanced. Kane looked at the bracket. His next one. That same B-middle swordsman. Experienced, with a combat aura that spoke of years of real battles, not tournaments. Lyra. Against a B-lower fire mage. This is serious, said Terrace, who had arrived in Renos 3 days ago specifically for the tournament. Serious, agreed Kane. Will you manage? We will see. Terrace looked at him with that warm concern which Kane did not know how to properly classify. Kane, said Terrace, you can lose on purpose if needed? To not draw attention? I can, said Kane. But I do not want to. Why? Kane thought. Because of Park Sonu, he said. Terrace did not know that name, but Kane said it aloud for the first time. One person I knew always did less than he could, stayed in the shadows, thought it was safer that way. Pause. It was not safer, just quiet. And? I am not him, not anymore. Terrace looked at him for a long time. Good, he said. Then win. Before coming out onto the arena, Kane felt through the vibration of the stands. Aylin. She sat in the royal box. Not officially, without a flag. Simply watching. A bodyguard beside her. She knows I am participating here. She came specifically to watch. The swordsman's name was Karn. About 35, with 2 scars on his face, with a sword that had clearly seen real battles. Moved like a person who does not need to think about technique. It had become his body. He looked at Kane without contempt. Professional assessment. White-haired and unarmed, he said calmly. Heard about you. 2 quick fights. Pause. I am not quick. I know, said Kane. Ready? Yes. Karn attacked unhurriedly, with pressure. Not speed, power, and technique. Every strike was calculated, closing off space for a dodge. Good, noted Kane. Experienced. He sees that I dodge and cuts it off in advance. The first 20 seconds Kane purely evaded. The sense gave him the sword's position a fraction of a second ahead. Karn noticed. You see the strikes in advance, he said, without pause in the attack. Yes. How? I feel it. Interesting. Karn changed tactics, a series of false lunges. Ordinary sense is fooled by a false movement. Earth sense is not. It read the vibration from the foot, from the center of gravity, not from the sword arm. The true direction of a strike is always visible. Kane dodged precisely. Karn stopped for a second. Looked. You read the feet, not the arm, he said. Yes. That cannot be taught, said Karn. You either have it or you do not. A respectful nod. Good. They closed again. Now Karn stopped pressing and began to work on attrition. The sword created constant pressure, took away space. If I only defend, I will lose on time and fatigue. I need to attack. But how to get close to a B-middle swordsman? Kane stopped for half a second. Stood still. Karn was surprised. An experienced fighter does not expect an opponent to simply stand. Pause. Sufficient. Kane forward. Not a dodge. Straight at the sword. Stone flesh activation. The sword struck his chest and stopped. Did not cut through. Karn felt the impact on the sword, as if into stone. A second of confusion. Kane in that second. Grip on the sword wrist. Turn. Pain lock. Karn was a professional. Could escape half of the holds. But Kane held like stone. Strength not human. Karn felt the leverage not working. Too hard. Too powerful. Stop, said Karn. That was a voluntary concession of defeat. The professional understood. Continuing would simply break his arm. Judge flag. Silence. Then the stands erupted. Not just noise, ecstasy. A C-middle unarmed youth defeated a B-middle veteran. Karn looked at Kane, arm still in the grip. Kane released. Your body is not human, said Karn quietly. For Kane, not for the audience. No, said Kane. You're not a mage. No. What are you? Different. Karn looked at him for a second, then nodded. Without fear, without accusation, simply accepted. Good fight, he said. Good fight, agreed Kane. A messenger found him an hour later. Princess Aylin invites you to the box. Now. Lyra was reading the note over his shoulder silently. Go, she said. How did your fight go? I won. Pause. Go to the princess. Lyra. Kane, she looked at him. Calmly, evenly. This is important. The princess after a public tournament is politics and attention. Reacting correctly matters for you. Pause. Go. Fine. He walked to the box and thought. Lyra said that correctly and calmly, but her skin temperature rose again slightly when she spoke. I have noticed this a third time now. Need to think about what it means. Later, Aylin in the box. Without other people. Bodyguard at the door. Kane, she said when he entered. Sit down. He sat. She looked at him with that expression which he was already beginning to recognize. Between curiosity and something more intense. You defeated Karn, she said. Yes. Karn is one of the best independent swordsmen in Renos. He participated in 3 previous tournaments. Never lost before the final. An experienced fighter, agreed Kane. Kane. She leaned forward slightly. He said something to you after the fight? I saw. What? He asked who I am. And what did you answer? Different. Aylin looked for a long time. You say that often, she said. Because it is the truth. Kane. She spoke quietly. Mages from the Academy, after your fight with the Earth Mage, recorded that your ability suppresses the magical connection with Earth on direct contact. That is impossible for an ordinary human. I know. After the fight with Karn, several people in the stands saw that the sword did not cut through you. Magister Alara was among them. I know. You know all of this and participated anyway. Yes, why? Kane thought. Then decided. Because hiding from everyone constantly is not a life, he said. I know that from experience. From experience in another world? Yes. Aylin looked at him. You said another world, she said slowly. Yes. You remember it? Yes. Silence. Kane, said Aylin. I do not know who you are, fully. But I know you are not a threat. Pause. And I know that Alara will want to speak with you after the tournament. I know. Are you ready for that? No, he said honestly. But I will be. Aylin looked at him with that intense gaze that grew stronger with each meeting. Kane, if something goes wrong, you can come to me. She spoke evenly, without pomposity. Not because I am a princess, because I am saying it. Because I am saying it, he repeated. Fine, said Kane. He stood. Kane. Yes. The final is tomorrow. Will you participate? Yes. Against whoever comes? Yes. Aylin looked at him. And he looked at her.